the most tremendous new musical experience you can have.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Logan, and I'm here bringing y'all this review to this newest Weeknd album called After Hours. Now, before I get started, if you can't tell, I'm a little bit under the weather. My voice is kind of touch and go. I will start by saying I am not that kind of sick, so don't worry about that. I know everyone thinks, oh, you got a cough, you got anything going on, oh, you got the Rona, whatever. Don't worry about that. I'm fine. Just a little sinus infection. Something like that. Nothing crazy going on. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get into this. Just try to ignore the fact that my voice is sounding so annoying right now. But yeah, I was very excited for this one going into it. This is one of the first albums in a long time where I have stayed up till midnight and did a listen through at that time, and I do not regret that at all. I thought it was absolutely amazing to do that at that time. The Weeknd is one of my favorite artists, by far, easily my favorite non-rap artist right now, and I really love his vibe, and I love the aesthetic that he was going into with this album, with the singles he put out, such as Heartless, Blinding Lights, and After Hours. Now, for the way this album breaks down, it is 14 tracks, I believe, about 56 minutes long, so it's a very easy listen. Like, it's not terribly long. His past few albums have been longer, with Starboy being about an hour and 8 minutes, and then Beauty Behind the Madness being like an hour and 4, an hour and 6, something like that. I don't know. So this one is slightly shorter, not by much, but still not that hard to get through. And it has a very good formula to it. The first few tracks, starting with Alone Again all the way through Escape from LA, those are like your more sad vibe tracks. Again, with that amazing aesthetic. Then he moves to the hype/pop type tracks from Heartless all the way through In Your Eyes, and of course that includes Faith, Blinding Lights in the middle of that as well. And that, again, has an amazing aesthetic. It feels like you're in the club. Of course, knowing Abel, knowing how many drugs he has done in his life, it makes you feel like you're doing cocaine, something that I've never tried and don't want to try ever. It's just it's just amazing how he can make you feel that and make you feel like you're in the party, but then at the same time still give you things to feel. I will go ahead and say the transition from the song Faith, at the very end of that, like the last minute, is just completely set up for Blinding Lights. And of course, I've heard Blinding Lights a million times before this album came out, but to hear how it transitioned into that was absolutely amazing. And then again, after In Your Eyes, the rest of the album goes back to the kind of that sadder type vibe. So I love the way that it just went through with a consistent area here, consistent area here, consistent area here. It wasn't like Starboy where it was just randomly play songs, and most of them were pop songs, but then some of them were sad, and it just didn't really feel like it had that much of a flow to it. This one had an amazing flow to it. It was very well structured, and I think, again, that this aesthetic was amazing. A couple of my favorite things. The transition from Hardest to Love to Scared to Live was amazing. These two songs will have you near tears or in tears, depending on how you feel, and I think they are both great tracks, and the way they go back to back together is great. This has some of his best singing performances since Kissland. Of course, I'll still stick by the fact that I believe Call Out My Name is his best vocal performance ever, but I mean, this just has very amazing singing, and this is, in my opinion, his most cohesive album since Trilogy. Maybe you can throw Kissland in there as well, but I just think Beauty Behind the Madness, while it still had a solid amount of cohesiveness, just, again, suffered from the same problems that Starboy did, to where he tried to make it too pop, you know. And this one, it didn't feel like he was trying to make it too pop. It felt like he was trying to convey his feelings and convey a message the way that he wanted to for his core fans, and I very much enjoyed that of it. Great production on it. One thing I do have to say about that, a lot of people talk about how House of Balloons is the best Weeknd project, and I'm not going to rank this one in his overall discography because it's not even been on a week yet. But the main thing about House of Balloons that makes it so amazing is that it allows him to show off his beautiful vocals while also having that cloudy production. Not to the point that it sounds unfinished, but to the point that it sounds kind of hazy and like distant. And that is something that's very fun to hear. You do get that at moments on this project, but not to the same degree that you get it there. Not saying that that's a detractor from it, but just saying if that's the Weeknd that you want, this has a lot of clean production, a lot of very well finished production. Something that I, of course, enjoy a lot, especially from the Weeknd. But again, House of Balloons is my favorite project. Again, not comparing it to this one yet because I have to just let this one marinate more. Who knows? This one could be his best. This one could be his worst. It's not his worst. So give time to marinate on that. But I think that this project has some of the best production I've heard from The Weeknd. This also, like I've said, I've used the word aesthetic a million times with this one. It just has an amazing aesthetic and really the best one I've heard since Anderson .Paak on Malibu back in 2016. That project just had the beach vibes, some sad tracks in there, some deeper tracks. The rapping, the singing all worked so well together, and especially with that beautiful cover art. And then with this one, while the cover art's not quite as beautiful, of course, just, again, the way it's structured, the way the vocals sound, the way the production is done, and the way each song seems to transition into the next song so perfectly, I love the aesthetic of it. Every single track on here is great. But I have to say, the single, After Hours, is by far the best track. I probably would have guessed that going into this just because of how much I loved that track when it was originally released and how much I loved it more and more the more I heard it. If I had to say what the worst song was, a lot of people have been trashing Heartless. I guess that would be the worst track, but again, I still really like Heartless. Some people have been trashing Snow Child too, but I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I really enjoy that track. Again, yeah, I guess it probably would be closer to the bottom. But it's really hard. Like, I've seen so many people say, this is my favorite song, and the next person will say, that's my least favorite. But the one thing they agree on is that it's a great album. So there's not a single skip on this project. It's very easy to listen to the whole thing straight through. Like I said, again, my only complaint, I guess, is that he does sound better on that cloudy production, and here you're getting that crystal clear production, which is not a bad thing. I very much enjoy him on some crystal clear production. It's just that, classic Abel is that cloudy production. So that's all I have to say on this one. I know I kept it a little bit shorter. I'm trying not to lose my voice, so I'm trying not to say too much, but I think I covered everything that I needed to on this one. Overall, I have to go with a 9 out of 10 on this. This has been, by far, probably my favorite project to come out this year. I love The Weeknd. I love what he hit us with here. This is definitely something for his core fans. I don't want to go too far and give it a 9.5. I feel that it doesn't do enough, different things to go that far. But it is a very, very strong 9 out of 10. Very much enjoyed this project and very much recommend you check it out if you enjoy The Weeknd, if you enjoy R&B, if you enjoy albums with great cohesiveness and aesthetics. I just recommend you check it out altogether because this is a really fun, really good album. That being said, that's all I got for y'all. Make sure to hit me up in the comment section what your thoughts are. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe, hit the bell next to my name for notifications, share the video so everyone else can watch it. I appreciate y'all being here, and I will hit y'all up next time.